It's Pete Cohen here. Happy, beautiful day. It's episode 176 of the My365 podcast series. And it is that time of the month where it's our member of the month for February. Now, this is a story that I'm very excited to share with you because stories do change lives and everyone's got a story to tell. But I think we can learn so much from what other people have done in their life. And just get ready for another inspiring My365 podcast. It's episode 176. Welcome to the podcast. It's member of the month. It's member of the month for February, and it is Mark Stephen Pooler. Mark, how are you, my friend?
I'm really well, thank you, Pete. Thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast. Really excited to be here.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. You've got such an interesting story, and I didn't actually know your story until I heard you talking somewhere else. Because, you know, sometimes you don't know people's story, and I'm sure I don't know all of it, but I definitely know that you've had some challenges along the way and you're here to tell the tale. So first off, Mark, just tell us, when I told you that you were our member of the month, do you remember what your first initial feeling was about that?
I was really happy, actually, Pete, because not in a big-headed way at all, but I kind of do feel like I deserve it. The work I have put in over the last year and a couple of months. Last year, I completed every single masterclass. Mm-hmm. I really plugged in every single day. I've started the masterclasses again this year, and I do feel like I deserved it because I have put the action and I've really transformed over the last year.
Yeah, you know, what I love about that is I don't think anyone has said that before, and I think more people should speak that way. It's like, yeah, you do deserve it. You are a great example to other people. You're a great example to me. You inspire me regardless of the fact of what you've been through, because you're kind of lucky to be here, right? But which is something that we'll talk about in a few moments. But actually, first off, let's start off with this. Tell us what My365 has done for you.
It's done a lot for me, Pete. I joined My365 January 2018.
Yeah.
And I had started to make progress in my businesses, but I was starting to really struggle emotionally. I was struggling with bills when I joined. I was struggling with getting clients. I would say it was more on the emotional level. I was very emotional, really struggling to move forwards and make progress.
Yeah.
Within starting in January, the same month, I started to get results. I was taking the action, plugging in every day, and I just started to be consistent with my rituals.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's been an up and down journey. I do have times where I get low moments, but I plug straight back in. And I have had some great results over the last year. I'm really in a totally different place to where I was a year ago.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's like quite hard at this point to think, okay, so where should we go from here? Because you've given me so much there that I would love to explore with you. And I think one of the first things I want to say is, congratulations, because you have achieved so much. And now you do similar work to me. You coach people, you speak, you teach people how to speak. Which is awesome, but there's nothing better to see people who are in the profession of helping others working on themselves. And I think that's one of the things I want to just talk about first. Tell us, and then we can look at a bit more about what you do, but tell us, why do you think that's so important for you to be an example?
I've had good mindsets and I've had bad mindsets, and it's important for me to have a good mindset to give my best to others. And I know what it's like to have a bad mindset. You are out of vibration, you don't get the results, you start negative thinking. It's really important for me to stay plugged in, to make sure I am practicing what I'm preaching. I can then show up, give advice, knowing that I'm standing by that advice.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. It's So tell us a little bit about what you now do, because this is really interesting.
So when I joined MI365, even though I was really making progress, I had started speaking. At that point, I had no coaching clients. I was struggling a little bit to bring clients in my hair business. Fast forward 12 months, January, I almost hit a 6-figure salary. I've built different revenue streams. I now have group coaching, what's a really successful. I have one-to-one coaching that's really successful. I now do press, PR, a radio show, which also brings in a revenue stream. I'm earning great money from my hairdressing business. I have really transformed in 12 months. There's been ups and downs along the way. And this is an exclusive here because I don't normally talk about it for personal reasons. But last year I had to move back in with my parents because I was struggling with bills.
Yeah.
And I did it as a temporary measure to get myself out of debt, get back on the straight and narrow. And to build abundance, you have to get rid of debts to build a better lifestyle and more abundance. So I moved back in with parents, and what I've achieved over the last 12 months, I really couldn't have imagined it would be so successful.
This again, thank you so much for sharing that. Why do you think it's so important that we push ourselves? You've obviously done a lot of things that you were probably uncomfortable and they maybe gave you some elements of fear. Why do you think it's so important for us to get comfortable at being uncomfortable?
When I had to move back in with my parents, it felt like the end of the world. But then within a couple of months, I realised it was the best decision that I could have ever have made. I've built more abundance for myself. I'm completely debt-free again. And it's important to always consistently work on fears, obstacles that you're facing. And by plugging in every single day, taking the steps, journaling, meditating, eating right. I've lost weight without even trying. I'm healthy. I get exercise because I do it consistently every single day.
Yeah.
When those challenges come, it's still, you're facing those challenges. You still face fear, but you know that you can overcome it so much easier because you're thinking better. You're mentally more strong.
I think we're modern day athletes, living a life where we're competing. Let's use that analogy. What are you competing for? What is it that what's your chosen sport, if you like? What is it that you're here to do? What's your purpose, Mark? And how did you figure that out?
I love helping and inspiring others. It makes me really happy to help inspire others. I've got a strong work ethic. I take steps on my business every single day. I'm consistent. And for me, it's always coming from a place of love, coming from a place of authenticity and helping others. I feel like because of my story and what I've been through, I've got that drive in me that I want to show people. It doesn't matter of your past circumstances. It doesn't matter of your present moment. You can create any reality that you would like to create. And I think that's my drive.
So let's talk. I mean, we could go backwards, we could go forwards. Let's go forwards first. Right. So when we talk about the reality that you're trying to create, tell me about the lifestyle that you want. You know, dare I ask that question? Where will Mark be in 5 years' time?
Well, I would have said a 6-figure salary probably a year ago, but my dreams and goals are a lot bigger. I definitely want to become a 7-figure earner. I definitely want to do more for charities because I'll be in a position to do more, even though I do stuff already. I want more books to help people, books for support and guidance, audio CDs. I'd like to do a film documentary with all my favourite influencers for inspiration.
Yeah.
I'd like
I would obviously be in that, right?
You certainly would.
You.
And I'd like to do television, Pete. I'm already doing radio hosting. I really want to go into television too because I feel it's one of my strengths. And it's from doing the work, doing what you value, your values, and really working on your mindset to get those belief systems to know you can dream big.
So tell me about your sphere of influence or your friendships. When your friends have seen you deciding to be who you are today, how are they with you?
I'll be totally honest, Pete. I have lost a lot of friends on my journey. People in the beginning who felt like friends, very supportive. And as I've grown, I think they could do with more personal development to celebrate other people's successes and be a cheerleader, because I have faced a bit of adversity of people losing a few people on the way up.
Well, sometimes we just outgrow people, don't we? I mean, it's funny. It's not like we have to have for our friends. Many of my friends are still doing what they were doing when we were 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. And that's a lifestyle I don't want, but it's not like I have to live that. I think what's interesting is when we change, it can be quite threatening to people around us. It's like they see it as something, maybe there's something wrong with them, right? And it's something that they know deep down they should be doing. I think we all know deep down that there are certain things that we need to do, right, in order for us to be happy and fulfilled. But Mark, let's go back, because like I said, I didn't know your story, and I came across, I think you were giving a talk and you'd filmed it, and I watched it and I thought, whoa, this is an interesting story. Tell me a little bit about what happened to you and some of the big turning points in your life.
So I was always bullied at primary and secondary school about the way I looked, about my sexuality before I knew it myself.
Yeah.
It led to me having low self-esteem, low self-confidence. I was very lonely, spent my childhood in my bedroom quite a lot. I left school with really bad grades because I used to play up, because I realised it made people laugh and calm down the bullying. I started drug taking at the age of 15. It started on soft drugs. And then by the age of 21, I was addicted to crack cocaine and heroin. I went out on a party night out with friends, took a new clubbing drug, having the time of my life 1 minute, and the next minute I woke up in hospital, chest all shaven where shot pads had been used on me to bring me back to life, bruises all up my arms where adrenaline had been pumped into me. And I didn't even see the light after that. A few days after, my mum caught me in my bedroom taking crack cocaine. She grabbed the crack cocaine pipe off me, ran outside, chucked it down the drain, and chucked me out of the family home. That was a small turning point, because I moved away from the area where I was living. I moved away from the associations I was surrounded by, and I give up crack cocaine and heroin just by using the power of my mind.
So when you say you use the power of your mind, I mean, thank you very much for sharing that as well, because you know, it's some people don't like to talk about that stuff, but that's what I grew up around, and you know, as a part of life for whatever reason, which we can look at as to terms of why you were taking drugs and what drugs did for you. But let's talk about, so how easy, you say use the power of your mind. What do you mean? You know, because these things everyone says are extremely addictive. Both of those, crack and heroin, are like, you know, two of the most addictive substances on the earth. Was it easy? Did you go cold turkey? Did you, what was that like?
So 1 minute I was still at home, living with parents, having my ironing done, dinner on the table. To the next minute, I had to get a small studio flat on a high street, just out of the area where I lived, thinking I've got a single bed, I'm living all on one floor, I'm on my own now, I've got to look after myself. From having everything done for me, I had to start looking after myself. My friend gave me a Law of Attraction book around that time, well before The Secret had come out, and I read it and I really felt like there is something in using your thoughts properly.
Yeah.
And I started to control my mind a lot better, and I cold turkeyed for a couple of weeks, went through hot and cold shivers, and I had to start looking after myself and grow up. So I didn't use a doctor, I didn't have any medical assistance. I cold turkeyed and went through the pain.
And at what point did you realize, okay, I'm kind of through the worst of this? And what did that feel like?
It was a few weeks, but Pete, I did carry on partying and going out, taking party drugs. By the age of 25, I got into a relationship for 5 years with an alcoholic. And it went from me being a party person, going out partying all the time, to I had to look after somebody else, seeing drink alcohol, destroy them. And that was a second turning point of my life, because it was no longer just about me. I had to look after somebody else. Who I'd get phone calls on a Saturday saying your partner's in a police cell been fighting, or tried to commit suicide in hospital. I had to really grow up in those 5 years. And all through my addiction, Pete, I've been a worker. I've never gone out and stole. I've always worked for leading name hair salons. I managed to keep a job throughout all of my addiction.
Wow. Just goes to show, you know, what you're capable of, you know, how strong you are, right? And just putting that energy now, which is one of the greatest things about what you were doing, is you're using this personal energy that you put into doing that to now creating and manifesting an incredible life. You know, one of the podcasts I did with a guy called Stevie McEwen, and he's a guy who's run like hundreds of marathons. And I'd ask him questions like, oh, you know, what did you do when it was really hard? And he'd kind of resent me asking them those questions. Like, why would you ask me about it? It was hard. Why would I want to think about that? I'm making it hard by thinking about it. And I think sometimes we do go on about the past, but the past does make us. What do you take from your past that is fueling you to move forwards?
I used to be running away from my past, but now I'm more running towards the future I'm creating.
Yeah.
I just remember having no self-worth, what that feels like, never feeling good enough. I remember what that feels like, feeling that others are better than me. I remember what that feels like. Yeah. I remember feeling different, always feeling alone and different.
Yeah.
And I think that's buried deep inside me. That gives me the drive to be who I am today, step up and always try and improve, because I know what it's like on the other side.
Well, you know, our lives are quite similar in many respects, and I'm sure many people will relate to the fact that people lacking self-confidence and then moving into the world of looking to help others as a way of helping ourselves. But again, what's great about you is you're realizing, look, it's great to help people, but the best way I can help people is to help myself. You know, if I'm strong, then I just make a difference to the people that I'm in contact with. Tell us, a little bit about My 365 in terms of you having gone through those masterclasses, and what have been some of the more profound ones that you've done, or maybe just some of the things that you've really learned that have really had a big impact on your life?
So I really enjoy all the ones for mindfulness, goal setting are really important. I especially like how we all draw our futures, and I have already had to draw 2 of my futures, the 3 bold steps, because I've already manifested what I have drawn. So I really like that because it's really creative. For me, meditation, journaling, watching what I eat, being consistent, plugging in every single day, even if you just do one of the little videos that are in the masterclasses, just taking small steps every day to keep those.
I think what I've got to stop you, because you've said this word 3 times now, and I think it is so important. And I think that's one of the greatest things that you've done. You've recognized how important consistency is. And as you know, consistency is what holds something together. And it sounds like what you're saying is my rituals hold me together. And even if I end up just doing one of them, there's something that is stopping me. What happens if you're not consistent with your consistency, not consistent with your rituals? What then happens to you?
So if I go 2 to 3 days without journaling, without doing my meditation, those have the biggest impact on me, meditation and journaling. If I miss 2 or 3 days, it is like starting again. It's a challenge. For me, it's much easier just to do it every single day because I feel great. I'm happy. I'm happy about life, skipping round, smiling.
Yeah.
I can handle rejection a lot better when you do get those obstacles coming. Now, if I haven't done those rituals, everything seems worse. The little voice in the head's worse. So for me, it's so important. I never miss a day.
Yeah. I when I think of how far you've come, because obviously I've seen you, showing up in our Facebook group, and I see you now, and I have to almost step back because you've become much more of a force to be reckoned with. And tell us a little bit about the work that you do and what you offer right now.
So I work with speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs, influencers to move forwards and make progress and get results. I know how hard it is to get started in speaking, being a social media entrepreneur. So I do group coaching and one-to-one coaching to help new aspiring or established speakers that feel stuck to make progress. I also help business leaders to get press, PR, and national news coverage to build credibility and authority. I also speak about my story of adversity turned into brilliance and how to turn tragedy into brilliance, very self-leadership and transformation based.
Well, you say that with such confidence, and I want to pull you up on something I heard you say when I know where you were getting some mentoring yourself, and someone gave you some feedback about your speaking and said, look, you need to look at your voice. Now, I don't always listen to someone's, I know that's just me, even though I love to listen, I think, where's this person coming from with what they're saying? Now, I don't know what shifts you've made, but what I can tell you is that you stand so much taller. I don't just mean standing physically, but there's something that has developed in you that is so strong. What happened when you got that feedback from that person, whoever that person was, and what did you actually then go away and do? And what difference has it made to the impact that you have when you're speaking?
Okay, so when I was told about my voice, first of all, I was offended. I took it as a criticism. But then I stepped back and thought, actually, this person's giving me advice because they think it will help me. So I took their advice on board. I also asked in MI365 too. Now, Pete, everyone in the group was saying, don't do anything about it. Okay. But I'm never one for doing what the crowd tell me to do. And I remember you did actually say you can still be authentic and change your voice. And I did listen to your advice too. So I've been having voice lessons every week since then. I'm still working on my voice, but I'm in a place now where I know I can speak correctly and be understood. And I work on it consistently.
I see that what you do is you speak with less doubt. Like we all speak from time to time. I mean, you know, when someone's talking to us or we're presenting, there's a voice of doubt, you know, and I just don't hear that very loudly in you, you know, and I think that what I see is the biggest transformation. You've learned how to just be confident with who you are. What would you say to people who are looking into personal development, and how do you do personal development in order to get some form of results and transformation in your life?
Personal development is really important. I've invested over £20,000 in coaches, training workshops, seminars. There's no better investment than in yourself. It transforms your life. To get the most out of it, don't see a big mountain in front of you. Just take little tiny steps every day. MI365 is amazing for the investment. What you put in, you will not get a better coaching experience that will transform your thinking, transform your health, transform your well-being. And alongside that, it's really fun, and you're surrounded by other people that are successful in what they're doing, that just want to keep on getting better and better and better.
You know what? I don't think I could have put that any better. Someone would probably think I'd paid you to say that, but thank you. You say it with so much sincerity, and you are the reason I get up in the morning is to inspire people like you, because I want to help people like you to inspire more people, and you definitely inspire me as well. So, Mark, how do people find out about you? How do they follow you? Not literally follow you. I've always had that in my mind one day. Say, look, these are all my followers, and open a door, and thousands of people just turn up. How do people follow you?
People can go to my website, www.markstephenpooler.com. All my links to my social media there, and you can check out what I'm all about. And that's www.markstephenpooler.com.
We'll put that in the show notes, and I would encourage all of you to go and check out what Mark is doing. It's really, really inspiring, and I want to thank you for your time, Mark. And make sure that if you're watching this on our website or on iTunes, if you've got any comments for Mark, put them there. We'll make sure that he gets them. If you're in a place where you can share this, please share it, because these are the stories that I think people just need to hear. I think there's so many people around the world. If they hear this story, they will be inspired to make positive changes in their life. So, Mark, thank you so much. If you guys want to see what coaching can do for you, go and check out our case study training. It is my365elite.me/case-study. That's mi365.me. That's my365elite.me/case-study. Mark, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and I'm delighted that you are our member of the month for the month of February.
Thank you for having me.